From the News Channel 8 studios, Let's Talk Live with your hosts, Natasha Barrett and Melanie Hastings.
DC and the surrounding area, home to so many private school options. So we're going to try to help you choose the right one for your child if you're thinking about this. Educational expert Ann Dolin is here to help us with this one. I think when people start thinking of private schools, they think money.
They do, that's for sure. And they can be costly, to be honest. You know, some of the schools, some of the parochial or small Christian schools can start out at around $5,000, may go up to about $10,000, but some of the elite private schools in our area can top out at around $35,000
I want to stop you right there. $5,000 a semester, $5,000 a year? What are we talking?
A year.
Okay. And $35,000.
$35,000, yep.
Rivaling some college tuitions out there.
It's true. And parents think about that a lot. Do I want to invest the money now and have to pay for college as well?
Yeah.
Or should I keep my child in a public school?
It's tough depending where you live. You want a good school for your kids, and depending if they need different kinds of attention and learning. You know, we all learn differently, so
yes.
it really depends on a lot. So let's talk about this. If someone is considering it, what are the kinds of questions they need to ask themselves? Like, I'm considering this for my kid. Would it work?
Right. Well, you really need to think, would your child benefit from more individualized attention? And in many cases, the answer is yes. When we look around schools in our area, Natasha, you know, many classrooms top out at around 30 kids per class, and that's a lot.
It is.
You know, schools are big too. You know, high schools can be 2,000 to 3,000 kids. They're pretty dense. You know, they're really populated. But in independent schools, classrooms may have 15 kids, some as low as 10. That makes a huge difference.
The kids are getting more
learning.
attention from the teacher.
They are, absolutely. And you know, there are so many studies that show smaller class size means better academic performance.
Yeah, more one-on-one. I get that. Let's try to break some of the myths. When you hear private school, you think, I go to a private school. You know, it's this elitist attitude.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
Not true.
Not true.
You know, I think years ago that may have been the case, certainly, but not anymore. You know, schools are more diverse than ever. Schools have about 25% diversity, some up to 40%. So it really is a slice of America. And schools strive for that. They don't want a homogeneous classroom. They want a school where everybody can participate. There are kids from all different backgrounds.
Okay. Now, then there's the whole applying and got to get into this thing.
Yeah, and now's the time. You know, if you're thinking about a private school, also called an independent school, you need to think about it a year before. So right now, September 2013, kids are going to be looking at schools and applying now for 2014. So now is the time that you would pick out a few schools that may interest you, and you would go and tour, go to open houses, and then apply. Applications are due around December or January.
For the following school year, for the fall coming up. Okay, now what do parents and even kids need to think about? Is it like college admissions? The things that you would think you need to stand out to, you know, a college admissions team to get into a school, are they kind of the same?
You know, it kind of is to some degree. It depends on the school, depends on the age of the child. But let's think about high school. You know, many 8th graders are thinking, my public school is okay now, but I want to go to an independent high school. So the first thing that schools are going to look at are test scores and grades. Those are always very important. So kids have to take a test called the SSAT for private school admission.
SSAT.
SSAT. Kind of like the SAT, but at a lower level.
Okay.
And schools...
I wish they had those for getting into college.
Tell me about it.
Exactly, right?
But schools really want to see, some of the top schools want to see good scores. Obviously, they want to pick kids that are going to be able to keep up with their rigorous curriculum.
Yeah, and that's one thing that makes them so sought after. A question that I wonder, do students applying to college, if they've been to a private school, maybe their whole educational life, or maybe just high school, do they have a better chance of getting into some colleges?
And that's the golden question. Parents ask that all the time. They want to know, is all this money going to make a difference?
Is it worth it?
Is it worth it? You know, that's a common question, and the answer is yes, it can. It certainly can. As kids grow and develop as people, they're going to have many more opportunities in an independent school. For example, you know, maybe there's a robotics club at their public school, but there are 60 kids. At an independent school, maybe there are 8 kids in that club. They're going to have an opportunity to be the president, the treasurer. Maybe they're going to market for that club. But they're going to have more opportunities. They're also coming from schools that colleges know prepare kids well. So often the academics are more rigorous. And colleges are going to say, oh, we've had a great track record with that school before. They've sent us really prepared kids. We're going to go back and pick kids from that school again. And then the other difference, Natasha, is college counseling. At public schools, college counselors have about 300 kids per one counselor.
Right.
Where at independent schools, they might have 25 or 30. So it can make a tremendous difference when you're preparing your application if you have individual attention.
On the flip side, before we go, how do parents do their own research on these schools to understand or know which ones are great? Because, you know, we spend so much time trying to impress these schools for admission for our own children and pay these high prices. How do you know how they stack up?
You know, it comes down to individual values. Think to yourself, what do you want for your child? What kind of atmosphere do you want? Do you want a same-sex school? Do you want a school that has, you know, really tough academics, or do you want more of a low-key school with a better balance? Talk to people in your area, certainly. Get lots of different opinions. But there's also a great website called independenteducation.org.
Okay.
And parents can go there. They can see about 82 independent schools in our area, and they can find out the ins and outs of each place.
Good to know. Ann Dolin, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.